Hi kids, how you doing?
G'day.
My name is Mark.
And I'm Duncan.
We're here to talk about Australia. Duncan, where were you born?
Well, I was actually born in Perth, in Western Australia. Over here, Perth is the capital of Western Australia.
And I was born in Melbourne, which is down here, and Melbourne is the capital of Victoria.
So, Mark, where are your ancestors from? Which country?
My ancestors come from two places, Italy and the UK.
Mine, on the other hand, are just from the UK. And you'll see here I've got a map to give you an idea of the size of Australia, the UK and the USA.
Where do you live now, Duncan?
Funny you should ask. I actually live in a little place called Durringall. Durringall is, well, nothing really. There's really only a school there. Durringall is just outside Shepparton. Shepparton's in northeast Victoria, about 2 hours drive here from Melbourne, the Melbourne office.
Very good.
And you?
I live in Melbourne. Here's a map of Melbourne. Here is Melbourne just here, and this little star that you can see here is about where I live. It's in a suburb called Mitcham. And there is a picture of my house. I live there with my wife and my son.
So what's your Australian food, your favourite Australian food?
I love a bit of pav, Duncan, or pavlova. Pavlova is a cream and meringue based cake. Looks a little bit like this and is often topped with fruit like strawberries and passion fruit. What do you like to eat, Duncan?
I'm actually a steak man. Just like KC, I live in the country, rural and regional Australia it's referred to over here, and I like a nice steak with chips.
Sounds good to me. Hey, do you know, are there more kangaroos than people in Australia?
Actually, that's an interesting question. I don't. I would guess we do, but I don't know. You?
Well, I do. Here's our friend the kangaroo. There are about 25 million kangaroos in Australia, and there's just a few less, about 23 million people. So there are a few more kangaroos than people.
But one thing that is worth noticing, Mark, is, and I don't know whether you knew this, most people think kangaroos deliver our mail. That's not actually correct. We've got a postal system.
I've heard that.
So, Mark, what's your favourite Australian animal?
My favourite Australian animal is called a platypus, and I like it because it's made up of 3 different animals. There is a duck with a beak-like bill, a beaver with the body and tail, and a marsupial, which means it keeps its children in a pouch. I also like it because it features on a 20-cent coin. And a 20-cent coin is pretty similar to a quarter for you. What do you like, Duncan?
Well, actually, I like the Tasmanian Devil. This is a cartoon of one. You may have seen it on some of your shows. The Tasmanian Devil is a marsupial based in Tasmania, and I like it because it's in Tasmania, and Tasmania is not really part of Australia. And it's a bit of a scary looking animal.
Very good. What's your favourite sport?
Well, I've got 2 favourite sports depending on the season.
Mm-hmm.
In winter, which we're just coming up to, it's the Australian Rules, or AFL, where I barrack for the mighty West Coast Eagles.
We can't because I barrack for the mighty Hawk.
Ah. In summer, however, I like cricket. What about you, Mark?
I'm like you, Duncan. I like playing cricket in summer. Cricket is a game that lasts between 1 and 5 days and involves a bat and a ball, a little bit like baseball. Cricket is also played in countries like England, India, New Zealand, South Africa, and even in Canada.
And hopefully the US real soon.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay, so Mark, vacation. Where do you like to go in Australia on vacation?
I love to go to a place called Noosa. It is north of Victoria, where we live, and it looks a little bit like this. The weather is always warm and it's always sunny, and the beaches are fantastic for swimming and surfing. It's a little bit like Florida in the US. Where do you like to go, Duncan?
Funny you ask. I'm actually more of a homeboy. I like getting home. I travel a lot, unlike Mark, who doesn't travel much. And I actually like getting home to my lovely little house, my 40 acres in northeast Victoria, and holidaying there.
Very good. That sounds good to me. What's the weather like over Christmas?
Hot.
Hot.
The answer is basically hot. Christmas here in Australia is the summer period, and it can be very hot. We're known in Australia, like California, for a lot of bushfires. So we have temperatures in excess of 100 degrees Celsius quite frequently.
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, yeah. Gets to 100 Celsius, we're in trouble. That's boiling water if you didn't know. Okay, so Mark, do you decorate your house at all for Christmas?
Well, decorating the outside of your house with lights and reindeers and things is fairly new in Australia. People have only just started doing it. But inside the house, we typically have live Christmas trees decorated with tinsels and lights and a bunch of other decorations. And we've been doing that for as long as I remember.
I'm a little bit different to Mark. I've been decorating part of my house. Well, actually, I put a big Christmas tree up. It's about 21 feet tall, so I put that up for the neighbours to see. But you have to remember, Christmas is really hot in Australia, so traditionally at Christmas time, we're outside eating having barbecues, enjoying the hot, beachy sort of weather. But history still shows that we quite frequently like a nice hot meal at Christmas, a turkey, a ham, that sort of meal as well.
That's true.
I think that's it.
Okay, kids, I hope you found that informative. See you later from Australia.
See ya.
Hope to see you down under sometime. Bye.